Hello, good morning to those in Australia and evening yesterday to those of you in the US and in Europe in between. It's raining all day today here in Melbourne, 90% chance of rain, rained all night. Summer monsoon rains, so it's a nice time to be inside and chat with you guys. And today we're going to chat about this topic here, which is refusing to just constantly worry about the worst case scenario. And how some people, where even if you got rid of it happening, they would still say, yeah, but not yet. Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, there's almost nothing that would make them take a step towards something that required effort. Hi to the regulars. If you are here in the live stream, if you are joining us live during this stream, and you're one of these bunch of beautiful people here, if you want to ask a question during the stream, please add a bunch of emojis like this, smiley faces in front of your question or comment, and I will try and read it during the stream or add it as a point of discussion, an extra thing. So, hi to the regulars, which is Rocket. How are you, dude? By the way, Rocket, I wanted to ask you, I think in Discord, maybe during the week, I wanted to ask you something about this topic, because I wanted to include it here, but I didn't have a chance, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, so maybe I can talk to you through the week. Bribarian, how are you, dude? Everyone's going on about the photo I used. I just try to use different photos of my head, because that's, I think, when people click on the video, that's what they see if I'm talking. I don't try and do too wacky a face and try and clickbait you into something you're not going to see when you click on the video. And it's just too hard. On streams, this is all it is. But please let me know your thoughts on this type of fear of worrying and planning and making sure everything is perfect before you start. And then, let's be honest, even then, you check, double check, and triple check constantly, even though you know there's nothing stopping you except for habitual resistance and habitual planning and never actually doing it. It's like, holy shit, are we doing it now? Are we doing it? Hang on, no, we're not doing it because we're not used to doing it. Yeah. My USB-C cable's a bit looking a bit funny, but it's working. Anyway. Big Ol says, don't constantly worry about it, sure, but protect against it at least. Yes. Yep, protect against it. But there's also, I'm just thinking of like an arbitrary example. If you've seen those movies, we watch those movies like action adventure or something, right? The whole point of, say, climbing Everest, right? You've prepared, you've got everything you need, and then you've mitigated the risk enough, thereby allowing yourself to enjoy what you're there for, the adventure, the exhilaration and everything. And then in that movie, you've also got the nerd with the puffer and the people who are carrying his luggage, and he's worried about this, that, and the third, and you think, what a loser. Why does he even come here if he's not going to enjoy part of the exhilaration involved in this? Now, I know there's a level of preparedness for anything, but past that point, you may as well have stayed home. And a lot of people who prefer to stay home run up against this. And I would say it's the same with people who date or are not doing relationships as sensibly as they can, where they are this overprotective, neurotic nerd that doesn't want to try past the point of sensible preparation. And they're constantly saying they want to experience climbing Everest or a relationship without actually any discomfort at all, any discomfort. They just want the view. So they want the view of Everest while you might as well just pop a GoPro on someone who's climbing the mountain. So in terms of these guys as well that are looking for every excuse to protect themselves against the unknown of dating, they might as well just pop a GoPro on some of us older guys here who have the balls to try. And I directly mean this because especially a lot of the younger guys who end up being older guys who get stuck in this loop, they get to 30s, 40s, 50s, and they haven't changed because they've got enough young buddies online with them to make them feel like they're doing the right thing, but you're not. I mean, again, you can do whatever you want. Why is it so dark? There's a lot of cloud cover coming over. Let me boost up maybe the brightness. Can I boost up the brightness? Oh, a bit of the contrast. That looks terrible. Anyway. Yeah. This constant need to go back to, yeah, but I prepare this, I prepare that, I prepare everything. If you've got training wheels on your bike all the time, you won't experience what someone experiences without training wheels. And sure, practice and prepare, but you can't, and you can't say it's the same thing. And with regard to dating, people, friendships, and relationships, if the whole point is to connect to someone without a suit of armor, you can't have a suit of armor there, whether it's mental or structural, that keeps you kind of at a safe distance. You can't do it. You can't enjoy a relationship with a horse behind a fence. You know, there's a level of overcoming some sort of fear, and then you have to have a tactile experience with something. You have to try. Look, I understand depending on the country you're in and the level of experience. Yeah, see, this is a big old, just don't even get in a relationship. Just don't. Get a prenup, exclamation mark, put the property in your mum's name. Don't even let her in your house. Just don't. Yeah, but I want to get my pee-pee. Get a prostitute. Get a hooker. Seriously. You know, I know we're cheap. I'm European. I'm Eastern European. I'm cheap too. I want free bedroom fun and I don't want to pay for it. But at some point you're fooling yourself. At some point you have to pay and just let go of the hurdles you have to keep jumping over in terms of, there's too much reflection coming off of my mirror, especially with all of this stuff. Actually, what I might do, I wonder if that'll work. Give me a second. Makeshift, because of all the light outside is really, really dim. There's a lot of light, low-level cloud. Is that too much? That looks a bit weird though. Anyway, it was just too dark before. I would say, have you been with these people, friends, say, that are always worried about everything? They're worried about the government. They're in every part of the conversation. There's no inspiration. There's no, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on. I went here and did that and whatever. It's constant complaint. It's constant politics. It's constant politics. And you can wrap this up into as many real life examples as you want. But if it's all other people's lives, other people's more interesting lives, and then picking on them when they make mistakes, sure, some of them are really reckless, like Elon Musk with his 100 kids, when it comes to children or celebrities or the Kardashians, sure, when you talk about their romantic decisions or their crazy lives or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they keep doing it because it doesn't really bother them as much. They've got so much money and they've got so many options and so many distractions they can afford to. But if you don't have a life and you're protecting what little you have, I would suggest try and have more of a life so you don't have to worry so much about protecting it, having it protected by everyone else, because you don't trust yourself. You don't trust yourself on a date. You don't trust yourself to pick the right friend. You don't trust yourself if you meet a pretty girl. Well, I can't help it. I have to let her into my house and she wants to sleep with me. I can't say no. Really? Can't you? A lot of us talk about the Stoics and making the right decision, but a lot of us just don't have much of an interesting life or much of a will to defer gratification and be able to, can you hear the rain outside? Listen to that. You should be able to pick it up. Wow. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Let me do live chat because I think I'm missing out on some of the comments here. I can definitely see the point. What do you guys think about this? Look, it's a bit too, I don't like it. It's too bright. What do you think? I don't know. Anyway, let's get some of your comments involved in this discussion about always focusing on the worst thing. I thought Steph was vacuuming. No. Why isn't it showing? It is showing. Nah, Steph's not vacuuming. It's actually the rain. It's pummeling down. So, look, I keep going on about this the older I get, to take more recoverable risks, to go on the adventures you really want to go. Prepare, but pass sensible preparation. If you find yourself looping back through your checklist, if you've prepared to go overseas, say, and you've got a checklist of all the things you need, and you go through them, and then, okay, let's just double check. I find that guys who are dating and socializing who become shut-ins and afraid, they're such perfectionists, they just keep going over the list and adding to the list and going over the list and adding to the list, and they never go anywhere. They never take any risk. They never go on a little win, a little adventure that's all their own. It's just all theoretical. It's all fiction. It's all what could happen. And high five, bros. I avoided the worst pitfalls because I just came up with one. Guys, I came up with another worst thing that could happen. This could happen. You're smart, human. That could happen too. Another reason why we shouldn't move just yet. You know, this is the kind of person that would like stay under the shelter as Godzilla's coming through the city. And, you know, there's a moment where you take stock of the situation. You don't move yet, but at some point you're constricting your time frame where you can actually move and go forward, and you don't, and you get trampled. There are so many people that are going to waste a fortune on therapy in the future, or it's going to be too late. They're going to be my age. They're going to still be saying these kind of things, worried about things that never happened, never will, and you'll see friends and people who you thought you were more courageous than, that have a better life than you just because they took a little bit of a risk, you know, a little bit of discomfort. It's not recklessness. It's not full-blown fear. It's just, I'm prepared to put up with a little bit of discomfort and I can always go back to where I was before. You'll see those people go further than you. An example, and I hope you don't mind me sharing, I'm not going to share any details, but I've known through the chats Bribarian here for a little while, and he's gone through stuff and he's really done some great work on himself, and you can see he's going to go places. He's going to enjoy his life. He's not going to be stuck in a place where he's recycling fear and blame. Poor me, I'm the victim. Everyone pat me on the back. I'm poor little me. We all go through these points, but people like him, they will get the most of their lives. And that's what I hope for the rest of you, is take the recoverable risks in the direction of your life, that if you get little victories, you'll be proud of yourself and you'll learn how to do them effortlessly, and they won't be luck anymore. They're going to be skill-based. I used the example in a recent video. I think it was the last one. I think it was this one here, where I said, don't listen to them, people who are experts. I remember I gave the example in that video of everyone thinks they've got the same chance of something bad happening to them, and you don't. Logically, we don't. Even for the data-driven, statistic-minded spurgs and nerds on the internet, if I've been playing basketball for a decade or two, and I can play fairly well because I've practiced, I've enjoyed it, I've learned, I've obsessed over it, and I've got more brain power in that area than you. I've got more reflexes, I've got more skill, I've learned more, but real life learning more. I haven't just learned it from a textbook. I've been playing, I've been training, I've been practicing for years. I've been in it, right? In the real world, touching it, feeling it, failing, getting better, trying. We get on the basketball court, someone gives me a basketball, and someone gives you, who's just looked at it and watched basketball from your armchair. You're a basketball fan that just watches it. I play it. We both get the basketball. Give us both 10 shots. Let us both warm up for 5 minutes. And give us both 10 shots. I guarantee I will get, after a warm up, I will get between 50 to 80% on a good day in. You will get 0 in. 0. If you're really lucky, you'll get 1 in. You'll get maybe 10% if you're lucky, if that. But I will bet you won't get 1 in, not 1. And that's the analogy I want to give people who always prepare for the worst and don't even try because they're afraid of everything. They're almost afraid of their own shadow, in the sense that they don't trust themselves. The evidence is in front of them. You've prepared. If you know what you know, if you're confident with everything you know, with your preparedness, you're not confident enough to stand behind it with your own voice and your own boundaries. If that's the truth, then be honest that you're afraid, or you can't help yourself, or you can't help saying yes to everyone. Women, parents, jobs, you tolerate everything. Your fear is that you can't say yes to yourself, you say yes to everyone else. Your shame is that you can never do what you say in private on YouTube videos, in comment sections on Discord. And you've got to be honest about that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was rain. Yes. Scarcity begets more fear. You see people today, they over-amplify the fear in their lives. And they point to politics and that guy with the orange hair and what's happening over here and the tension and, oh, I've got to worry and fear, cortisol, I can't sleep. You get online, you're a keyboard warrior, and you're just... You're voicing your fear and pushing everything back and trying to acknowledge protecting yourself. And there's a saying by an old writer that says, I have suffered so much in my life, so many things in my life, most of which never happened. It's this. I had a really interesting, fun conversation with Quaz. Here about this topic, about trusting yourself, the system out there, and how much we we play into it and are conditioned by it, and how much we refuse to live our own lives. We worry about the things everyone worries about, not just sensibly, but beyond sensibly, neurotically, and we become part of the shaking henhouse of people worried about their shadow and every noise and everything that goes bump in the night. And then you got people that just have the courage to kind of live their little corner of the world, but not just in their four walls, but out in the world. They're confident in taking their world inside their home out to the shopping center, out in life, when there are barbecues with their family. Their heart rate stays level. They're not worried about what other people will think. You can't get courageous and strong in just preparation and in private. It has to be tested. That's where you get confidence. That's where it becomes fucking real. I don't want to be cheesy about this. It only becomes real. It only materializes when you go out there and you say no to the person who's been putting you down. You say, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want to watch that movie. I'm sorry, it's not for me. Say it calmly, but if you first can't stand on your own principles and say no, you're just going to stay in this bullshit bravado of online where you're all scared and acting tough. You're performing your real personality that you wish you could have, but you could just do that. And I know a lot of guys online, some of which are here, that they speak really well, they've got the knowledge, but they've got problems in front of other people. And that's what you need to address. You can perfect all this stuff in private with like-minded guys like me, and we can kind of shoot the breeze and whatever. But at some point you have to lower your frustrations in life around this stuff by evolving out loud with people. Start a stream, start a YouTube channel. Like, do the stuff that's honest and real. Don't just write in your journal and shake your fists at the world behind your window where no one can see you, where it's kind of just like there's a wall between you and the world that you're frustrated with. Rocket Scientist says, I used to be that totally prepped guy, a carryover from the military service. Later in life, I found traveling on the fly was much more fun and satisfying. Yeah, this is some of what I want to talk to you about, Rocket. I'll chat to you. Either message me on Discord and we'll further this, but I really want to get your thoughts on this. Yeah, Rocket's somebody, and it's usually older guys that aren't afraid to admit without any embarrassment, yeah, I screwed up. But I took a risk, I went on an adventure, I learnt, I went on another one. I didn't just carbon copy the last one. If I got another girlfriend, she wasn't like the last one. If I traveled differently. I prepared differently, but I kept doing it and I lived life. You cannot live life in theory. I mean, you can't. You can theorize about life in theory, and you can experience a simulacra. And for those of you who don't know, a simulacra is a poor substitute for the real thing. I think that's what it means. You can convince yourself that and the mind is very powerful. There's very little difference sometimes between having experienced an actual thing in the past. And I've done this too. Tell me if some of you guys have. You remember something that happened when you were a child, and now it's been so long that you don't know if you imagined it, if you dreamed it, or it actually happened that way. Our brains, at some point, if we get really good at it, we can't tell the difference, or the feelings aren't any difference from what we tell ourselves, what we believe, and what actually happened. So remember that too. Yeah, analysis paralysis. Yes. Thank you, Prince Revolver. Magnum Opus, new name. Human, thanks first for the super chat. I appreciate it. If anyone wants to get me to read their message, super chat me like Prince Revolver, and I guarantee to read it. Otherwise, if you are here, please put emojis in front of your message, like malaise here, analysis paralysis. Otherwise, do what Prince Revolver did and support the channel, and I'll thank you, and you'll be part of the stream. He says, Human, do you think men struggle to take risks after a breakup because we're not used to dealing with intense emotions outside of dating? This, I think, is true. This is a huge factor. If you've been protected by your family, or mummy's protected you, or you're not used to conflict, you're conflict avoidant, a breakup is a massive conflict. Even people who are social, who are used to conflict in their lives, they've been raised in a more healthy way than you or I may have been. Breakups hurt everyone. Everyone. Losses with people, funerals or breakups, they are the most intense feelings of pain and loss you'll feel. Now, if you're used to conflict and loss, it helps, but it still sucks. It is a feeling you don't want to feel, okay? But if you're not used to it, as Magnum Opus says, dealing with it, that's why a lot of guys, I had this discussion related to this as well. I had a discussion with Stephanie yesterday. Go watch the video. But I had a discussion yesterday here. Why do we stay in bad relationships longer than we should have? We both discussed this from both a male and female point of view, and both of us as being together in a couple. And we circled around this, and we got a lot of interesting comments from people and feedback. So there are many reasons, both personal and also how you've been raised, what your friends are like, your personal temperament, things like that. But it's very interesting that we struggle with risks after we've been hurt, because naturally, why would you want to experience that trauma again? Fear again. No one likes feeling afraid. But what you must do, if your logical brain knows that you're weak in an area that you need to be stronger in, rather than taking all life and color out of human interaction with prenups and making sure before you catch up with your friends it's not going to rain and you're not going to stub your toe, and make sure no one says a bad word, and everyone sign this document when we get together at a barbecue. No one says any trigger words that make me take a hyperventilator and call my therapist. Like, I just want to make everything a padded room that I have. There's no kind of color, risk, surprises or anything within the ballpark of what I'd enjoy. If that's how you sanitize your life, you may as well stay home. But you are stressing yourself out being a keyboard warrior, trying to fix your life at a distance. You are screaming at life from so far a distance that life does not fucking hear you. It doesn't. And I'm sorry to tell you, life doesn't care. It doesn't. People don't care. People care about themselves. And if you don't care about yourself enough to form a little bit of courage, especially in the areas of life you care about, you care enough about yourself to say no in the most eloquent, stoic way, and you can sit there mildly uncomfortable initially while Chicky Poo or your parents look at you with their raised eyebrows and don't like what you've said. And you say, I don't care, because it's more important for me to be proud of myself later and to feel righteous. And I know I'm not being rude. I'm being intelligent. They just want me to do what they say all the time. And I'm tired of doing it. And it's just no. But shame, 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 shame. I don't care, mum, dad, Chicky Poo, brother, sister. I don't want to do this anymore. Or I'll do this for so long, but after that, I'm going home. Oh, dude, stay. One more drink. No, I'm going home. Until you find yourself important enough to stand up for yourself, you will keep screaming at yourself. Really, you're screaming at yourself in the comments section with all of your perfection and your stubbornness through the world. But it's your fault because you haven't tried to mitigate anything. You haven't tried to say no. You haven't tried to say no to the pretty girl that if she wasn't pretty, you wouldn't even look at her, or you would tell her, yeah, no thanks. You haven't faced yourself in the areas you're not proud of yourself enough. And when you do, you feel better, and you don't have to try as much, and people feel safe around you, including the next dates you go on. It's not about like I've manufactured courage. It's just I am generally comfortable with myself, and I'm proud of myself, and I've got nothing to be embarrassed about. And if I am embarrassed, the most embarrassed I am is that I can laugh at myself. That's a big indicator too. You can laugh at yourself and you don't get butthurt at everything. If it's true, if I'm a little bit of a pussy, it's like, yeah, I know. I screwed up. Yeah, I know. If you can be stable with yourself, that'll go a long way into you not thinking about the worst thing all the time. Luke says, I love the game. Yeah, whatever, if I read you correctly, whatever helps you. If thinking of everything like a game to take the intensity of everything being so personal and high stakes helps you, then think of it as a game to lower the stakes for yourself and put yourself in a more, give yourself more levity about the situations. DRVP Scott says, I have no idea how to date. Got plenty of experience, maintain a relationship, but starting out, totally inexperienced, totally different world now. Yeah, you'll go through points where you've been hurt, naively hurt so much that you take a break and then you just don't want to date, and then you now you've stabilized and your scars have healed and everything. But then I would encourage everyone, keep living your life and going out there with or without women. But if you decide to date, you no longer date the way you used to. The old you is dead. You date differently now, or you don't date at all. And you just try dating from a different perspective. And you voice that perspective in definite ways. You don't go on autopilot. You're very aware, especially when you start dating again, that you're not on autopilot again. Otherwise, all you're doing is this. And that 9 times out of 10 leads to you being taken advantage of. It's far better when you're in control of yourself. Then you really get the sense of there's not much luck involved. There's a little bit of luck involved, but I'm in control of the majority of this now. I'm very aware. I've got a voice. I've got choice. But before, it's just all luck. My feelings want to go in this direction. Let me go and let me hope I survive. Yes, we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality. Who said that, by the way, Melee? You probably know. I haven't got time to Google it. There's a whole bunch of you probably now Googling. And I'll think you're smart when you're really not. Don't worry, I've been there as well. Yeah. Yeah, look, all your plans are just hopes and dreams if you don't do them. That's all they are. Yeah, this kind of stuff relates back to the days when worrying about the worst thing that could happen was preventing me from talking to women. The key was to switch that part of the brain off. The key is to have a sense of humor about it, to realize, think about yourself. Yes, a few of us might know 1 or 2 people in our personal lives where that happened. But how many of us really know someone where the worst case scenario happened? You know, you watch the worst kind of videos where there's some awful wretch of a woman who just takes the kids, who cheats on the guy in their own home, and the guy never saw it coming. He was a guy that every woman would want. He's successful, and she takes his kids and the house and their child support, everything. How many of us know that scenario? We might know certain aspects of it in breakups. If we look at those couples, are you or I like them? Would we want to be like the guy? Is he impulsive? Does he take his time before he dates? You know, would he be someone you would tell people, take his advice? You know, Roger, he is really good. Probably not. I know. You tend to make better choices when you know better. Again, there's always chance. But the way you go about things compared to 20 years ago, it relies less on luck. It really does. I can agree with all of you on the realistic chances of something happening, but spare me you inflating the small chance of something happening if I go about it the right way, the way that would mitigate almost, 90+% of the chance of risk if I go about this with patience and whatever and keep going forward. The chances of it happening, you can't get that single-digit chance of disaster happening swallowing the whole of 90+% of success. I'm sorry. I'll take the risk if it's like a great deal of success of it happening, if it's something I really want in my life, and I'll be proud of myself and I'll love having it, experiencing and having achieved it. And I'm just worried that it's not 100. If it's 100% chance it's going to happen, everyone will do it. And then it's like everyone having access to welfare. It's like, okay, it's a no-brainer. Everyone can have access to welfare, unless you're hyper lazy and whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it strikes me that Luke's come a long way a lot earlier than many people, and which is great. There are certain things we're lucky enough to have in us already or hardwired. I had a few things that helped me as well avoid the risks that a lot of other guys may. Like, I've never been wired for kids. That is a hard no. Any girl that manipulates me there, or committing to moving in or marriage or any of that, that was like a hard no, and that was just dropping off a cliff for me. It wasn't any more like, well, maybe, yes, well, how can I make her happy? That was just a hard manipulative no. Hard blackmail. But a lot of guys just don't have a line. And if you don't have a line, that's your problem. Not women, not the laws, not the governments. Our generation grew up predominantly in authoritarian homes. These things you talk about are typical of that kind of childhood, yes. Although I find that today's generation is much more brittle than I ever was. I had my childhood stuff, and a lot of my generation are still going through therapy, and I'm not perfect as well. Though my childhood stuff still comes and taps me at the back of the head from time to time, but I have no idea. You just see the way they communicate and the way they talk today and the way they TikTok and their form of communication. They can't even express themselves clearly, let alone dealing with the herd of cats that comes with a non-tactile way of living, a virtual reality way of living, of perfect filters and AI photographs on your dating profile and dating the way you're taught now online with the pickup artists and male-female interaction. It's like, dude, none of this is going to end in tranquility. All of it is high-octane bedroom fun and high-octane drama of breakups, and you just recycle highs and lows. It just turns out to be someone who needs therapy in dating, and you're creating that for yourself. You're a person that's watching porn and a person who's watching romantic breakup movies, and you just cycle between those two roller coasters all the time. The middle is boring. The middle is a Netflix genre that you have no interest watching because you fall asleep. The middle of sensible dating, the way I talk about, where you take a breath and you can defer gratification and sit still for more than 5 minutes. You're not a TikTok flicker. The middle is boring to the majority of people that are neurotic and are always up and down, and they can't control their impulses. They're the guys who drink too much and drive too fast and can't help themselves, and they're the women who are similar, who are just led by their emotions. There are overly emotional men who can't control their emotions, and they're overly emotional women who can't control their emotions. And for those of you who get triggered, you prove my point. A sign of intelligence is the ability to laugh at ourselves as well. I keep reiterating that. Thanks, Zeman. Boffin says, focusing on the bad things is our fault, is our faulty wiring. It's a survival instinct. Is our default wiring. It's a survival instinct. It's what keeps us alive in dangerous, primitive world. Yes, but also being aware of that, which I know you are, Boffin, you're not saying otherwise, is you're aware of like, oh, I act like this. I don't like this primitive thing. I feel like I'm scared like a 5-year-old again in this situation in front of a girl, and I'm a middle-aged man. I don't like it. If you can catch that immediately, and especially you get used to catching it while you're in front of chicks, while you're in those interactions, that's really good for you. That's when you get better. That's when you catch the feelings before they control you, before they puppeteer you down roads that you can't come back from, that you feel ashamed of later, where you wake up in the bed next to some couch walrus that you were drunk and you just couldn't, you weren't in control of yourself. You weren't standing up for your boundaries. You didn't say your yeses and your nos. You just went along with your emotions. You went along with the voice of your parents in your head. You went along with women because you can't say no to women. That's the problem with a lot of guys. We just can't say no to the majority of women. As long as she gets above a 2 or a 3, most of us just give in. Worrying will only get you so far. Beyond that is a waste of time. For parents, it may be different. For kids, yeah. You can't just, you have a responsibility other than your own little bubble. For others, it could be anything, but using energy in our time for things you can't change does nothing than waste it. Yes. Zaman says, I worry a lot and I try not to be pessimistic, but I feel being pessimistic has got me out of a lot of trouble. It does make us avoid a lot of things, but if you don't start trying to take little, trying to get little victories through being sensibly courageous, where you just know the 5-year-old in you is stopping you and the adult in you is just kind of ashamed that you're dragging this 5-year-old around, when you can get to little victories by muting and not looking at the 5-year-old, not paying attention to that little voice that's still in there, and you start experiencing, oh, there's nothing to be worried about. That was nothing. Often the things we worry about are far, far less than what we planned they were going to become. But you need to practice doing that. Anything that you're bad at, the answer is practicing, especially if you know it's that you're bad at it and other people find it easy. Given my childhood and the way I'm wired as an individual, I saw my friends growing up, they had an easier time socially around girls, certain things, whereas I had it easy in other things as well. And they thought that I was just lucky. And sometimes you're born lucky in certain areas, but when it's gotten to do with the frustrations you experience with basic pedestrian human interaction, that you really feel like a 3 or 5-year-old, but you don't want to admit it. And all you do is read a lot of information and wrap yourself in stoic literature, knowledge, university, technical information, and you think you're better than these people who actually have become good in life just through experience. Haven't you met those people? I've met those guys that don't know anything about the manosphere, don't know anything about male and female like information, knowledge, and literature, and they know themselves. And you could say, well, don't you know that 30% of women do this and 60% of me? And the guy will say, yeah, but I don't care. I just do this. And when this happens, I do this. And like, I don't tolerate that. And you think, well, yeah, that. You don't actually, like you already get to there. You already see the common sense of it, but you don't have to justify it through a PhD of information to get there, which you probably don't even implement in real life anyway. So it's a useless PhD of information. Information won't save you. I've made a video on this and I made a stream. Keep learning more, but if you don't try and use it, it doesn't save you. Peg says, without sounding too Pollyanna, Pollyanna about it. What if we thought about the best things that could happen? Sometimes you get what you focus on. Yes, your perspective, and I'm not saying ignore obvious risks. Don't be reckless. But if there's a 50-50 chance of something happening, right? If you're completely neutral, and you've prepared more, you know about it more, you've got the vocabulary, you can speak up for yourself, and if you've got a glass half full attitude, the chances of it working out in your favor are demonstrably better than someone who's negative, then of course, why not? If the chances are equal and with a better attitude, see, all of these positive things will lean almost towards a guarantee of it succeeding, and even if it doesn't, it won't affect you. If it doesn't succeed, you'll return to neutrality. You won't go to zero. So with a correct attitude, even if you fail sensibly and recover, you'll return back to neutrality because you've got a better base by which to do these things. You don't have a base if you don't try. Prepare all you want. Doesn't make a difference. Is Quaz here? Someone says, well stated, Quaz. Yep, I don't see him. All right. I'm trying to see. Men have incredibly low standards for women. We project qualities onto them that they don't have and try to make it work with a train wreck while simultaneously being a jellyfish. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like we're really working on ourselves while being with someone. We're kind of pounding against frustration, not because they really are for us, but because we want something. And it's really an experience we're having with ourselves, and it's less about them because they're the wrong person. We're learning a lot. We're getting experience. We're toughening ourselves up. But, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like it's a different environment. It's like going to the gym and punishing yourself because you're preparing for, I don't know, to lift something heavy at some point in your life. You're actually training in a separate environment for something completely differently, and that's the thing you want over here. What you want is you want to win an event in the Olympics, and all the hard work you're doing is in the gym, but it's not really what you want. You don't want the gym, you want the gold medal in the event. And I feel like these people that aren't for us, our low standards, we're really having this weird internal frustrating relationships with ourselves, with anyone in front of us. So we wake the fuck up and a light bulb goes on and we go, okay, let me get a better person in front of me so it's not just this thing going on in my head. I can start having an external relationship with someone else. Does that kind of make sense for people? Makes sense to me when I'm explaining it, but yeah, let's see. This doesn't refresh that as quickly as I would like. Robbie, how are you? Landis, haven't seen you in a while. DVR Scott says, we have better memory for feelings and facts, and every time we access and store memories, they change when re-encoded. Yes, and as I said before, sometimes the memories we feel, we fictionalize, we curate them. They didn't happen exactly that way. And sometimes with a long enough time, and depending on how good and accurate your memory is, they didn't happen at all, especially in the ways that we think. Luke says, I believe the term you're looking for is sanitized adventure. Yeah, which is no adventure at all. It's basically putting a GoPro on somebody else and watching it on YouTube. It's watching a lot of YouTubers and planning to make a YouTube channel and never doing it. It's wanting to do a stream, a live stream, and knowing that you admire people that do it and you wish you could, and that looks so cool, but you never evolve out loud to get better. And that's the secret. You have to have the courage to evolve out loud, and it's more important for you to be proud of yourself. You don't have to say love yourself, but to be proud of the person. And the only way you're going to be proud of yourself is to walk through the thing. And everyone, all the kind of losers who don't, and all they can do is make fun of you and tell you about all your faults, they're not doing anything. And if you're surviving and getting better and, you know, getting more skilled, like, you'll get better and better, and their voices will get less and less. I've noticed it on my channel. Don't care about this is what I always have to remind myself sometimes. I know I go on rants. I wanted to make a little video about this. You guys know me. I think there's some people who check my channel out who really don't watch me or follow me. There's like a small, like 3% or something, and they go, "Oh, human, you're a bit angry, trouble with the marriage or something." I like ranting in a fun way with my friends. You saw me rant. If you have a look at the channel with myself and Stephanie, I rant and have fun with her ranting, and it's a way of like joking about life, other people, just letting it all out. But I think that the more that you can just be honest and not have these filters on, the calmer you will be. You don't have to protect yourself because it doesn't matter. Yeah, they don't like me. I don't care. I want to cultivate this channel as being the kind of people I enjoy having conversations with. I want people who are fans of my work, my videos, who want to have these discussions, maybe create their own videos, do their own thing, work their own stuff out, have genuine conversations. A reason why I had a chat with Quaz, and I always do, is he's got a completely different life, but it's so great talking to people who are cut from similar types of cloth, where they want to try and live their life, and they know their life is out there, and they keep going towards it, and know what it looks like, or at least what it feels like. Like this, where I am now, this isn't my life. On paper, even if it looks like something everyone else would admire, I've been there too. You got everything that everyone would admire, but your world is black and white, and you want it to feel like color. That's when you know you're not living the type of life you want. I don't mean to come off self-helpy, but a lot of this stuff is popular because it's true. The way it's worded is sometimes cringy, but if you don't have the courage to stand up for your life, to your parents, to old friends, to Chicky Poo, to anyone who tries to shame you just because you're wrong because you're not doing it their way, fuck them. You have to. If you don't say yes for yourself, no one will. Everyone is saying yes for themselves, thereby using you. Everyone is using everyone else. But whenever you say no, you don't allow them to. So even when there's people that do, they can't take anything from you because you're not allowing them to. That's the best thing you can do. Prenups, lawyers, all that stuff, good luck. Good luck. You're not having any relationships. You're not. You are having long-distance relationships with people with a huge wall between you, of more likely a huge distance, where you might as well just be having a long-distance relationship in real life, because that's what it feels like. You will never bring anyone close. What relating is that you bring someone into your world. You swim with them. Alonso says, has Steph hit you up with the Dutch app Tiki to pay back your debts? Tiki, no. Yeah, I think that's something in Holland where people, if they buy dinner, go, don't worry, I got this, you can pay me back with Tiki. And people just immediately pay back a favor or money you've lent them on this app in Holland, I think. No, that's in Holland as well. What are you insinuating? The ads are getting intrusive, really. Sorry about that. I'll click off the ads next time. I put it at the most mild one. It shouldn't be coming in at high rates. If it is, I'll put it at the lowest one. I think it's somewhere just below. It's like 30% or something. DRVP Scott says, jumping in with both feet, fingers crossed, sounds like the young papa was when I met the ex. Yeah. Look, I can sympathize with any guy who's young or hasn't been with a girl yet. It's like, how long are you going to wait to get experience and know the reality of the world and know yourself in relation to the world? Time's ticking. And you see too many guys, they've been in complete safety. They've been very, very timid, and they get to my age, they get over 50, and then they got the gold chain Ferrari, and they're trying to pick up chicks on Tinder or clubs, if they still exist. And when they fail, it's very, very demoralizing. They need therapy after that, because you've waited. You don't know how to deal with reality. You get taken advantage of by the worst kind of women. You really do. Yes. Greek Seneca. Prince Revolver, i.e. Magnum Opus now, says, the older you get, the more you realize how many people, yourself included, are trapped in artificial fear. It becomes tiresome to the point that you have to free yourself. Yes. Here's a trick whenever I can remember it, completely obliterates irrational fear. And I'm talking about irrational fear, okay? The stuff that I'm just this way, I'm afraid of this, or I just can't say no to my parents, or I get nervous around women, or I can't say this, I couldn't possibly voice that. Whatever you fear, turn around and just look at it. Face your fear. It disappears because it's actually not there. Your fear can't fight you if you turn around and face it. It's always at the back haunting you. It's like a horror movie. It's like a sound or a shadow behind you. But the moment you go, that's it, you just turn around, it vanishes. Irrational fear is like that. Now, being prudent and prepared, that's different, but I'm talking about irrational fear. And it becomes tiring. At some point you get older and it's like, I'm tired. That's dangerous. I don't care. You start, you're younger and you see, it's happened to me in this form. You see like a group of women with screaming kids at a supermarket and people arguing and whatever, and they're in the doorway and you're like, whoa, okay, I'm avoiding this. I'm not going in there. You get older and you see that same situation and you're just like, excuse me. And you just push your way through. You don't care. I don't give a fuck. Like, this isn't anything to get worried about. I don't care. You annoy me, but momentarily I can go through this. It doesn't bother me anymore. Or someone screaming at screaming at the checkout chick and holding up the line and being obnoxious and self-centered. I'll be like, excuse me, can I just pay? I don't have time to wait for this. And you're saying things that everyone else wished they would say. You just need to stand up for yourself because you don't have time to waste. You just really don't. Rocket says, you will have more regret for not trying than you will for trying and failing. The sleeper must awaken. Yes. You feel alive when you wake up from fear and irrational fear and all that sort of bullshit. You really do. You have this rebirth. That midlife crisis that they talk about, when you get rid of irrational fear, you for want of better of a word, you grab the 5-year-old inside of you and you take him to the river and you tie a concrete block to it and just throw that thing in the river and get rid of it every time. You have this rebirth when you sort of get rid of that fearful 5-year-old. When you grow up in a culture of judgment and criticism, of course, you'll be inhibited. Yeah. Get out, change your world, change your environment. And the easy way, if you're still living at home, is learn to just politely just say no and rationalize, like, so I'm not allowed to make this choice. Is that, okay, if I do what you say, Dad, then if it doesn't work out, you have to pay for it, okay? And put a smile on your face, okay? I'll do what you want. I don't want to do it. But if it doesn't work out, you pay for it, okay? And then smile, like joke with your dad or your mum or anyone or your friends, like, we're going here. It's like, I don't want to go here because of this, this, and this. I don't feel, all right, if we go, we have to go here afterwards. Is that fair? Or if it doesn't work out, you have to pay for this or whatever. And then they'll go, no, well, no. Well, then let me make the choice I want to make. Say it all with a smile on your face, but there's ways to communicate this. If you don't, if you stay there like a grumpy SOB with Chicky Poo, she just wants the relationship to go her way all the time. And you're just like going, yeah, all right, yes, okay. And you grumble your way through that, thinking in the back of your head, one of these days, Alice, pow, right in the kisser, and you never get to that moment. What will happen is you'll waste 5, 10, 15 years of your life with a person you're just grumpy underneath and boiling with. You just paid years of your life. You threw it away. You won't get it back when you break up with her. She took 5 years of your life. There's no revenge. There's no creating a YouTube channel and getting on the keyboard. I'll show her. I'll balance the scales. With statistics, it's just raw data, assuming correctly correlated as well. You essentially give up meaning. Yes, the chances of something happening to me and you are different. The chances of, like the stats of people who get divorced, like the divorce rate, I think it's like 50 and 60%, depending on where you are in a developed first world nation around the world, in a first world country. It applies to the majority out there that we can all agree are like lemmings, like sheep, and we don't respect most of them. They're the people that just drink a lot, they drive too fast. It's like football and yo, go Jets, and women, they like shopping, materialistic, empty bimbo. Like it's just those kind of vapid, vanilla people that we want to avoid, and they're just irritating. They're the people on reality TV, right? They're low resolution people that we wouldn't have as friends, we wouldn't associate with, and they irritate the shit out of us, right? Those stats apply to those sleepwalking people that are just led, like lobotomized pedestrian human beings, like lemmings. They're just, oh, shiny thing. Oh, this is fashionable. Let me buy this. Oh, crypto. Oh, 50 Shades of Grey, let me buy that. I don't read, but I am now a reader. Oh, Harry Potter, now I'm a reader. I have no interest in books, but now, yay, I'm a reader. It's those people, right? Those stats apply to brain dead people like that. They do not apply equally to someone who's very specific and thinks a certain way, knows what they like, speaks up, is prouder of themselves, has boundaries, doesn't get walked over as easily, knows themselves in the moment and holistically, rather than just the people out there, the dumb pedestrians who are just like your dumb father who came in his dumb mother and produced dumb you, and you're just going to recycle that. Yo, Jets, yo, bro, high five, the system, government. Not the kind of people I have in my life. I don't think they're bad people. I don't think I'm necessarily a good person compared to them, and they're bad. But I know who I'd rather be around, and I know what kind of people suit me, and I know what I respect, and I respect more civilized behavior, more accountability. That's why when I rant like this, I am ranting to a naive, scared version of myself that was more on the side of those passive lemmings. And you get to a point where you just build up and you just refuse to be that old person, because that's where the real fear is. Walking around like a lemming like everyone else, that's where you're going to continually get taken advantage of, because you don't know when it's going to happen again. You've got no control over it. But the more not just intentional you are, but the more elitist you are. You have to care about standards, and you have to care about what's right and wrong, and reject what's wrong, and have principles, and have your own standards of ethics, which calibrate your boundaries and your morals and how you speak and what you like. And you're not going to be ashamed to change what you like unless you're convinced and it makes sense to you. You have to learn to speak in your own language in the way I'm speaking, in one form or fashion. Again, don't have to be what you are. I'm not your father. It's not my life. It's yours. I can tell you my life is much, much better the prouder I am in speaking up for myself like this, and when I refuse to be as much of a victim as I used to be in the past. It's not that I got a wife because of that. Yeah, it was all a master plan to get a wife because I want to go back to the plantation or something. It's not that. Prince Revolver. I think I read this. Thank you for the super chat. DigiNomad says, Human, congrats to you and Stephanie and your new lives. Curious, if there are any aspects of going your own way that you miss, are there elements you have integrated into this new life? My life hasn't changed. My life has become warmer and more relaxed. There's less existential anxiety that pops up here and there. I did have much more free time to visit family and friends than I do now, but because you do, and you have a lot of times for your hobbies. Now the challenge is to organize your time, but Stephanie doesn't stop me. It's my own procrastination and laziness. It's very easy to be lazy with a partner now. That's the problem. It's got nothing to do with her. Whereas before, I'm a very curious and present person. I don't like doing nothing. I don't like being lazy. I like being productive, right? I like being productive. When you're on your own, I'm very productive with my stuff, but there's a point at which you can't just look at a screen all day. You get burnt out. You get headaches, you forget to eat, you get dehydrated, and you need breaks. And sometimes you get up, you go for a walk, you visit somebody, you get out just for the sake of having a balanced life. Having someone out external to you now, whereas before I didn't, is another entity where I can relax a little too frequently with my own laziness. That's about the only thing. But there's nothing I miss. I don't miss the lack of solutions. I don't miss being as neurotic, although I've gotten older, and once I passed 50 as well, I cared a lot less even just before I met Stephanie as well, which helped me successfully have a relationship with her, which led to us getting married. But I don't necessarily mean, look, we can look back and miss our youth. I miss being in my 20s, looking the way I did and having the freedom and home and university. There's a lot of nostalgia there, but I don't actually objectively miss anything. There's nostalgia of that was cool, that period of my life was fun and whatever. But you really have to enjoy the life that you're in now. You have to enjoy the stage of life you're in. And I was changing my life before I met Stephanie. I didn't like my old life. Not that I didn't like it. It didn't fit me anymore. I was very well aware things were changing. Dad passed away. I gave up on dating. I just went kind of monk in terms of just enjoying my life. And I didn't even watch any Manosphere content. It was just all my tactile real life. The online stuff, I did streams every week and stuff, but you could see a couple of years ago, just before I met Stephanie, I was just rehashing old stuff. I was getting annoyed, not because I was reliving the past, but because I just dropped into just being pissed off. Why am I even speaking about this? I spoke about it by transporting myself to an old me. But once the camera was off, I just enjoyed my life. It didn't really mean anything to me. I was ranting partly because why am I standing in this shit again and talking this way? I yell at the old me. I'm not annoyed at my life now. And I think, understandably, that's where some people think that, I still haven't gotten over things. When the last couple of years, if I do a ranty video here and there, it's kind of a method of pushing back the old me that I just don't want to be part of anymore. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, re-encoding those memories can be a little like playing the telephone game from childhood with yourself, looking at old photographs. Coterie, he did a video back in the day, a really good one called Snapshot Hearts, where we take these snapshots, or we look at these snapshots, these still frames of moments, and we extrapolate, we animate these still snapshots of the best moments, and we animate around them. We turn them into life, but we don't accurately look at the entire portion of that life, like what it actually was, the reasons we broke up, and like the whole thing in 3 dimensions. We don't do that. Any other comments, guys? Yes. Yeah, you should be taking more sensible risks when you're younger. If nothing else, it's just to develop your character. And through those risks, you may discover things that stay permanent, like a person, friendships, hobbies. Why not? You know, the notion of why not. And I know the world is become more dangerous, and they keep promoting the dangerous and making you much more well aware of it, and stimulating your survival response more and more, and all you do is they promote. And the biggest videos out there, the ones that get the most views and the ones that are promoted to us on the front of YouTube channels and on TikToks and Reels, are the most dramatic reality TV style. Oh my God, have a look at what happened to this guy or that girl, or look at this train wreck. We watch the extremes, and it makes us step back even more, because we feel like we're stepping onto a freeway if we engage in relationships. That's what I feel like a lot of guys think life is. It's a freeway of a blur of fast-moving cars, and you're a blind man that dares to step on, and you're just better off avoiding the freeway. And it's really not like that. Perspective really matters. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Thanks, Boffin. Yeah, hit the like button. Helps the channel out. Okay, Karu, how are you, dude? He says, what were the things that you've removed from the manosphere way of thinking that improved your life? Catastrophizing, not being able to, while agreeing, say, for instance, on a topic, well, you know, men and women are like this, or women do this. Yes, that's the thing. That we can't even talk about, say, the smaller factor of how a man is responsible for something, or 90% of women are bad in this way. Okay, can we talk about 10% of how men are bad in a certain way, or how we're deficient, or how we should improve so we can avoid the bad women 100%? Can we take ourselves out of the equation? Oh, no. We don't even have to look at guys. And that's the turning point I started to see back when I started making videos in the manosphere, where there was much more of a middle-aged guy discussion happening. There were a lot of middle-aged men making videos. It became younger and younger, and everyone got scared, and everything was about men are invisible. It's just like, let's point at women like they're, I don't know, like a movie. Like we're discussing some sort of fictional movie going on outside of us. But I removed a lot of the irrational fear, the irrational discussion where you couldn't talk in a 360-degree fashion. If we're talking about this thing, yes, the biggest face of this object is here. There's also this. There's a little bit of this. Let's talk about it in 3 dimensions, and then wrap ourselves and our experience, wrap empiricism around it, like your own life, which is the biggest reality and experience we actually have. The most colorful portion of reality or grayness that we will feel, like you're not allowed to talk about it all of a sudden. It's so, I can't talk in a broad philosophical sense. Like the whole philosophy was taken away. It's like, I'm not going to talk recipes. It started to become like, every way we discuss women is like 10 recipes. Well, this one's about cooking oats. This one's about cream pie. This one's about, I don't know, apple pie. This one's spaghetti. Like every discussion about dating is just 10 recipes. And if you start talking anything else, like, let's not talk recipes. No, it's only this. It's like, well, I'm not interested in that. I don't eat those meals. They're useless. But anyway. All right. Let's refresh some of this. Express delivery. What motivated this topic? Well, what motivated this topic is the discussions I had yesterday on my and Stephanie's channel, and as well the discussion I had with Quaz as well. But I'm tired of. I've enjoyed my life in the areas where I had courage. When I started a YouTube channel, after I showed my face on my YouTube channel, when I started traveling on my own, when I wanted to draw and no one could stop me, I didn't care about it. When I wanted to do what I wanted to do because I knew passion led in that, was something I valued was in that direction. And everyone in the world is like your overprotective parents saying, no, don't do that. Become a doctor. Don't become this. Become a lawyer. And it was the same kind of discussion with women. No, don't date those kind of women. Like, you must date a doctor or a lawyer. And it's like, no, but I'm a creative person, or I like this. You can't ride bikes. You have to drive cars. Do you know if you ride motorcycles, do you know the chances of it? I don't care. I don't care. If I wear a helmet, if I don't go out in the rain, if I drive safely, yes, there's a risk, but the risk is severely, like, stop trying to scare me, dude. I'm not as scared as you. I'm sorry. I've got more balls. I've got more courage. I'm not the best. I'm not perfect. But I'm just not as afraid of irrationally afraid as you are. I'm sorry. There's so many people out there, and I used to be more afraid before. I don't care. He said he doesn't care if he gets divorced. Look, fine. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said in your eyes. That's what you interpreted. Justify your scared biases. I don't care. If you don't want to date women, don't. But stop screaming at women. I don't care. I don't care about veganism. I don't get on vegan channels. I don't make vegan videos. I don't discuss veganism all day because I truly couldn't give a shit. I don't care. But so many people out there is like, I really care and I'm protective and I have to protect the world against veganism. No, you don't. You're avoiding your own life. That's what you're doing. Being some sort of social justice warrior in the manosphere while you do nothing. I can't even have a conversation with people that don't do anything in their lives. That don't even have a story of, I was around my auntie and she said this. Look, it doesn't even have to be a relationship, or this happened at work and I'm really looking for another job because my boss said this and that, or I was at the supermarket and I noticed this interaction, and like that's a person that's really getting better and learning life. It's not just theory, it's practice. Without practice, it's all wishes and hopes and utopias. If it can't be practice, it's all a utopia. I don't care. It's interesting, but big deal. Who cares? It's all a preview to a movie you will never watch. I don't care. I don't just watch previews all day. Apparently, a lot of people do as they scroll through TikTok. But yeah, Prince, you're right. There's no revenge when it comes to an ex. You'll exhaust yourself mentally and emotionally, thinking you can get back at her or the world. Yeah, a lot of people are trying to get time back. All right, let's get rid of this. It's been raining, but it's so humid here. I think, let me tell you what the humidity is here in Melbourne at the moment. Humidity, 82%. 82%. Can you see that? Look at that. Humidity. Fucking hell. So, come on, focus. Let's wrap this up. Oh, actually, what I can do is read some of your comments. Let's do that before we go. If anyone has a comment, if you are here during the stream and you want to leave a final comment, put some emojis in front of your comment, like Karu here or Rocket. Put some smiley faces, and then I'll be able to see that you want me to read something. But yeah, let's first of all have a listen to this video or chat that I just had on my chat channel with Quaz. It's a 2.5 hour conversation. We just blabbed for a while. It was really interesting. It's along these lines of autonomy and doing what you should be doing and not being kind of safely a lemming and going along with everything, because the world right now is not on your side. It cares less about you than our fathers and grandfathers. At least there was community before. Now there's nothing. You're on your own. Let's talk about the useless paranoia of looking for faults in every opportunity that might come your way. Okay. Now, Prince of Revolver is being tired of your own BS is one way to get over fear. Yes, I agree. Quaz says the worst thing that can happen is that you refuse to pursue your dreams because of fear or risk, but you are wrong about how severe the risk really is. Yes, it is almost always, close to 100%. It's not quite true, right? Let's give room for a bit of realistic, probable doubt. What you imagine the catastrophe to be is never as bad as you think it is. However fearful you are of the dentist and pain, you go there and it's painful and everything, and it's never as bad as you imagined. Your breakups are probably not as bad as you imagined as well. Tube the Noob says, interesting, but I recently came to this very conclusion as well. So much uncertainty that is out of our hands. Just let go and roll with whatever comes. Be sensible. Sure, I'm not teaching recklessness, but these little echo chambers where they're screaming how proud they are to be victims and safe and locking themselves in the cage while somehow they think women are beating down their cages wanting to date them. It's not happening. How unfair the system is or something, or how life is unfair. They would have gotten this much further, but life is holding them back. No, even if it's got nothing to do with women, most of the time you are holding yourself back. Unless you've got parents that are so overbearing that they've demoralized you where you need protective services to actually come and help you. That's a movie. That's not real in most cases. Then most of us are just cowards and lazy, and we procrastinate and we form intellectual excuses just to justify our laziness and procrastination. Rocket Scientist says, the unknown is part of life's great adventures, although the prudent always have a plan B. The prudent, pack your first aid kit, but go on the fucking adventure if you really want to. If it's always on your mind, you plan, prepare, you know it back to front, pack it, stop going over the checklist. You've got the first aid kit, you got to go. Plan for every eventuality, pack everything, but go. Peg says, opportunities may come and go. Some are worth pursuing while others not. Wisdom and courage are needed to know the difference to act. Yeah, there's a difference, guys, between knowledge and wisdom. They're not the same. A lot of people online know a shit ton of stuff, more than me. They know a lot of information. But unless you try, unless you have the courage to put into practice, you won't have the wisdom to know. Wisdom comes from practice. Courage and confidence, confidence comes from the courage, and you look behind you and you go, yeah, I tried that. It wasn't as bad as I thought. I can do it again. It's not as bad. So success is when preparation meets opportunity. Prepare as we may, the desired outcome is not guaranteed, yet we'll learn much along the way. Yeah. Even if you prepare 100% or as close to, it may not work out at all how you wanted, but the chances are it probably will. If you don't do anything, the chances are it will almost 100% work out the way you want as well. But in the opposite direction, you get nothing. And then you can point to people who do get something and say, luck. Oh, let's just wait till that falls apart. He won the lottery. Let's just wait until he blows all his money. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. Cross says, well, worrying is part of survival instinct, so it's not worrying. Well, yeah, it's a natural part of... Natural inclinations doesn't mean it's the correct way to live. I could naturally be more fearful than you in certain areas, but I should work to alleviate it. Agree? Well, some people say, well, why should I? Okay, don't. We admire the people who do. Well, you should admire me. Nah, no. But I'm just being natural, yeah. But courage is natural as well? Or are you saying we should, like, if courage wasn't natural, we wouldn't be here. There were only about 10,000 human beings on the whole planet during the Ice Age, and we still had the courage to fuck and raise kids, right? For those of the majority of people, that we had the courage to try and survive through walls of ice. We had the courage to think and find some joy. If you didn't have natural courage, or you didn't want to have the will to exercise it, you would not be here. So it's natural too. Harder to come by, because if you're lazier, which is natural too, and your survival instinct, if you let that natural part of you win, then the part of you that will enjoy life much, much more than lazy, procrastinating people, you will never experience it. And there's a bit of envy and a bit of sour grapes when you look at people, especially that are younger than you, that were more courageous than you, that were more consistent, that tried and didn't give up and tried. I do. I see that all the time. I see people where I was and they didn't stop and they're further along than I was. I've seen people that didn't get scared in certain areas of life and they kept going, or they kept trying. I stopped trying. I paused life and I just sat in the corner and had a very minimal, safe, almost sensory deprived life of banal consistency, which is fine. I don't regret that much, but time doesn't care. Time does not care. All right. I think we should wrap this up. Luke says no, let's go back to this. I didn't read all of Across's. He says, what is wrong? He's talking about survival instincts being natural. Worrying is a survival instinct, so it's not wrong. What is wrong, to me at least, is being consumed by, say, worry, yes, and even worse, controlled by it, yes. Okay, so I blab for nothing. Being controlled by irrational worry is the thing I'm talking about, or even worse, controlled by it, to the point, as you said, of paranoia. There's only so much of a degree of control you have in your life, right? Why fret over things you do not know that are outside of your control? I know that it is a bit of idealistic approach to the topic, though, ideally when life is always happening everywhere all at once down your neck, but still, I believe that both the good and the bad aspects of life can coexist in a healthy manner in the dual dosage, of course. Yeah. Do not change the thumbnail. You look like a movie star. Yeah, I think it was Boffin who said at the start that, what do you say? That my thumbnail looks like I have a certain set of skills. But anyway, let's go back to the stream. I'm going to wrap the stream up in about a minute, guys. So any last comments, pump them through. Otherwise, because the stream is delayed by a little bit, otherwise you won't get your comment read. Any last super chats, any last comments? If you are here. Okay. Quaz says, in Taoism, anxiety is viewed as a sin of pride, where you think you know what future outcomes would be for you and you don't. Yes. The sensible prudence, like to use an apt analogy with Quaz, like if there's a cyclone over the horizon, you don't sail towards it because you just want to sail. You've got eyes and ears and common sense. But if the fears are imaginary and you're overcompensating, then it's ego, it's pride, it's fear, it's the 3-year-old in you. It's the thing you don't. If you're going to have pride in anything, don't have pride in being proud of the 3-year-old overprotective, scared part of you. I would recommend a lot of people read some excerpts, even if it's short essays of old literature that used to just be entertainment for our fathers and grandfathers before TV and the internet came around. Oh, that's right. The Formula One is on this weekend. That'll be fun. It's been hot every day before practice and the events, and today on race day, it's like this. Yeah. Well, Quaz, I think, read a lot of that old literature. Anyway, guys, I think I have been going on for an hour and a half. Wow. Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope there was some food for thought. Hope it generated a lot of thoughts about yourself. Write them down. Chew on them yourself. This stuff is not just intellectually interesting to me, but it really gives me a lot of optimism that I can fix a lot of my life by the way I go about approaching it, giving myself permission to say my yeses and nos, and making my lexicon and vocabulary clear and efficient to the point that I have nothing to fear around people because I say what I think, and I can say it in a civil and, eloquent way, or as eloquently as I can, where another person, they have nothing to say if I have a reasonable point of view, and they can't take anything away from me that I refuse to have taken away from me. They can't. You can't shame me emotionally anymore because I can stand up for myself lexically in a way that doesn't allow it anymore. You just stand there with a sour look on your face, repeating your shame of me if you're a family friend or chicky poo of the past. It's like, I don't care. I stand on my convictions backed up by beautiful language behind it that's like coming out of me easily, and I'm proud of it. And I don't care that you want to take something from it. I don't care that you want to push me in a direction in life to use me or to make me do something I don't want to do. I can say no, thank you. And I always say yes, thanks to, and it's a way of also having a better conversation with yourself. I think there's some people that don't even have a conversation with themselves. All of it is negative. Anyway, I'm blabbing. The rest of you, if you have a microphone, if you got some time, jump on my Discord, links below and in my About section of my YouTube channel. A bunch of us all get together. I'll try and jump on for a little bit. Give me 5 to 10 minutes. I'm just going to take a bit of a break. It's hot here. And I'll join you all on Discord. Make sure you give people a chance to speak. So will I. And I will see you on the next stream or in another video. But yeah, enjoy your weekend. Don't be a douche. And yeah, if you focus on anything, focus on getting rid of fear in your life, as in your particular way. Whatever you fear, turn around and just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. Wipe it off your plate. Just keep wiping it off your plate to the point where it just doesn't appear anymore, or it's like scraps that you barely notice. So anyway, yeah, Dead Poets Society, that's a good film. Watch that if you don't read, which not many people do. All right. I'll see you all later. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Goodbye.